Okay, so first of all, I just wanted to say happy holidays, and that's really what we need to say to six. You know, we can say Merry Christmas to Christians, and we can say Happy Hanukkah to Jews, but six have like several holidays during this time. It's really happy holidays, and
Yes.
I wanted just to tell people who don't know that six have lots of holidays around the year, and this is a lot having to do with the fact that we had 10 original embodied teachers who all have birthdays and death days and days that mark important things in history, in their history. And that the 10th Guru, the last one, gave the Guruship to the Guru Granth, our scripture, the great Guru Granth.
Mhm.
And there are some holidays around that as well.
Mhm.
And so there's just a lot of holidays. And that six don't have holidays that are connected to the pagan calendar, the Earth calendar. It's not because this is winter solstice that we are having these holidays. These are basically historic. All the holidays that six have are, as far as I know, historical events of one kind or another, and that we have this big liturgical calendar of historical events that when you go through a year, the children and the adults can learn the history of the religion. Just by living through a year, you go through so many holidays and you get told the story behind every holiday. And a lot of these are, um, like I said, they're all historical events. So in this season, we start out with the birth of Guru Nanak, which is a joyful holiday. We move into the martyrdom of Guru Gobind Singh's four children, which is a very sad kind of holiday. And then we end up with the very joyful holiday of Guru Gobind Singh's birthday on January 5th. These are on a lunar calendar, so anyway, around January 5th was when Guru Gobind Singh was born. And so, first thing I wanted to ask you, Dr. Kirpal Singh, is what's the weather like between the end of November and the beginning of January in the Punjab, India, where this religion comes from?
Well, first, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Yeah,
And
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki
Vaheguru Ji Ki
Fateh.
Fateh. Greetings to all the people who may be listening to it, and as well as you. Um, Happy holidays is a good way to say, because most of the religions have some kind of holidays during this season. Uh, in Sikh particular case, the weather in this time of the year, November and December especially, it's quite very cold indeed. It's freezing, and sometimes
Wow.
even there is a ice on the roads. Um, and it is a sometimes December, January, and February. These are the dreadful months as far as the cold weather is concerned. So I always felt very uncomfortable during these times. There's no air condition. There's no climate control in Punjab. At least the time when I grew up. So either it was too hot or too cold, and the good months were
Too
month
wet
of
or too dry.
that was either in October and the March. Those were the times when the weather was good.
So at the end of November ish, and I noticed the Gurdwaras in locally here are celebrating. It's the first weekend in December here, and the Gurdwaras in Whatcom County are celebrating Guru Nanak's birthday this weekend. But you know, so there's some wiggle room here when you celebrate. But Guru Nanak was the founder of the Sikh religion, and he was born on the 29th of November in 1469. I know that number. And so instead of telling all the whole stories because that would take too long, I would like what kind of celebrations this is the founder of the Sikh religion. What kind of celebrations are done right now for Guru Nanak's birthday around the world?
Yes. Well, I must say that first, say that these are my personal views, the way I observe. Others may or may not agree with me.
Okay.
The way I see is that in this country, Thanksgiving, and in India, end of November, uh, this is the time we thank Vaheguru, thank the Creator for sending Guru Nanak to this world to help redeem the humanity. And the most important event to my mind in his life was this when he came out of the Bay River uh, and he said, there is no Hindu, no Muslim. To me, that realization with what we believe, with encounter with the Creator during his 3 days period, was the one which was a climax of enlightenment as far as I am concerned in Guru Nanak's life. After that, he said all these differences, whether Hindu, Muslim, etc., these are really immaterial. We are all children of the same God. He calls it Kumar. We came from there, we will go back there, and it is the God's cosmic play in which we should participate. And as we sow, so shall you reap, based on that principle. He calls it the hukum, under which the whole master plan of our Creator takes place. But we have also been entrusted with individual responsibility, which is ape wij, ape hika, nan kukmi avoja. Means that as you sow, so shall you reap, and your actions will determine you are closer to your Creator or away from Him. And so to me, there's a big revelation. We're looking at the time of 550 years ago. Now, to be more precise, 551 years ago. It's the time when a sort of Renaissance type of situation started in the whole world. And Guru Nanak's message in that context, to me, is most revealing and enlightening and progressive. And I get a lot of inspiration from his view of the world and view of the uh, his life, that when we end our daily prayer, we say Nanak Nam Chardi Kala Tere Pane Sravadda Pala. What we were saying is that Guru Nanak is proclaiming, reminding us that your spirits will exalt it if you remember in gratitude the Creator all the time, which is a Omkar, Vaheguru, or other names, Allah, Brahm, whatever you want to call him, Jehovah. And then this will inspire you to work toward the common good, everyone's well being. So, this is a very revealing and very powerful statement for me when the Ardas is ended. Nanak Nam Jaddi Kala Tere Pane Sarvadda Pala. So that's Sarvadda Pala, everyone's well being, everyone's peaceful coexistence. To put it more broadly, it is love, compassion, goodwill, and peaceful coexistence. Those are the things come out of it, that kind of viewpoint. And to me, that is very powerful and the way to live our lives in this world.
Yes. Guru Nanak spent about 25 years as a troubadour traveling on foot all over the place. So when he believed that everybody's basically headed towards the same goal, spiritually headed towards the same goal. We may have different ways of getting there. And he's very accepting of all those different ways. And he went all over and met all sorts of different kinds of people. And uh, when I
Yes,
say all over, all the way to Mecca, all the way to Burma, all the way down to the bottom of India, all the way up into the Himalayas. They're even saying he may have made it to the Vatican, as I heard, made it to Italy. Um, he just is an immense traveler, and he's an amazing poet, and we have his hymns. Um, so and then he settled in the last part of his life. He settled and created what was then a utopian vision village, but it's basically just what we take for granted now, that you would, that we're equal. well, we're not all equal, but the philosophy we now take for granted, but he was like so far ahead of his time. Women's equality, and that we should all work together. When he came back and settled, he worked the farms beside everybody else, and got, did away with
Yes,
the caste system.
yes. So that city is called Kartarpur Sahib, and Kartar means the creator, and it's the abode of the creator. He called the city, not Nanak place, or none, but the creator. And his followers were both from the Muslim and Hindu communities, as well as more who were attracted toward them, known came to be known as Sikhs. And Sikh by itself means a seeker. One incident which is very interesting is when he was in Baghdad. Baghdad was a seat of learning in the old days, 550 years ago. And the chief Pir means the prophet of that area, asked him, um, uh, which religion is better, Hindus or Muslims? He said, without the good deeds, both of them suffer. His answer was. What he was saying is, actions speak louder than the words. No matter what you claim or not claim, it doesn't really matter. It is the way you actually live your life. And his teaching was always humility, and serving people is the essence of life.
That's right. And I don't think this Guru Nanak believed that on death day, it really matters what religion you are. It's like, or what culture you came from. That God is kind of bigger than that, and will look at your heart and your deeds. Um, and that's that's one of the reasons they consider Guru Nanak one of the first universalists, perhaps.
Yes,
Um,
I believe, in my opinion, he is the pioneer of the interfaith movement. You know, by his very words, na koi Hindu, na Musliman, Allah Ram ke pind pran. Those were the two dominant communities. He said it doesn't matter. Yeah, they exist, but what matters is the actions.
hmm
Our bodies, our minds, everything we have belongs to the Creator,
Yeah.
and nothing which is our own. It's all bestowed upon us as gifts. So what we need to do is we stay in the state of gratitude and enjoy those gifts and share with each other. So his
So,
message was very simple. Mhm.
so obviously, telling the stories of the holidays of the Gurus, like Guru Nanak's birthday, is really key to how Sikhs celebrate Guru Nanak's birthday. Is there any kind of what kind of celebrations would be happening in the Gurdwaras or the Sikh temples, the Gurdwaras?
Gurdwara traditionally celebrates is as a Akhand Path, that there
Re-
is a
Reading of the
continuous reading
scripture.
of the sixth scripture, and then that's ended with a ardas, and then the kirtan begins, and during that we reflect upon the life of the Guru Nanak and what lessons can be learned from it. That goes on for a couple of hours, and after that there is a final benediction, ardas, and then the prasad is distributed, which is a kind of a semolina, cream of wheat pudding, uh, and to everyone sitting in the congregation. And the congregation is open to all, no matter what your religion is, because it's the a life story of Guru Nanak, which we are reflecting his teachings, and anyone and everyone is allowed to participate in it. And after that, everybody goes to the Langar Hall, the place, which is the common cafeteria in the Gurdwara, where everyone is served the same food, and either sitting on the floor or in some places at chairs or other kinds of places. Depending upon if people are disabled, they may sit on those areas. Others may choose to sit on the floor, on like the traditionally as it is in India. So the idea is how to maintain quality and how to maintain collegiality while we are cooking food, serving food, eating food, and then cleaning the utensils and leaving the Gurdwara clean for the next satsang.
Yeah, and Guru Nanak started the langar, and So Langar is the sacred free kitchen of the sick people, and
Yes.
to be served to everyone. Everyone sitting at the same level, traditionally on the floor. Some Gurdwaras have tables and chairs because you're at the same level. Um,
Yes.
and but this idea of eating together, and it breaks the caste system in India to do that, because you're not supposed to eat with lower caste people, or
Yes.
touch them or have any interaction. And it breaks gender things, because you're not supposed to sit beside women, or women are not supposed to sit beside men. And in the Sikh lungars, that's all. Everybody just sits in lines, however it comes about, random,
Yeah.
or sit with your friends.
Yeah. Egalitarianism, equality and equal opportunities was central to Guru Nanak's viewpoint of life, because he said, as being children of the same Ikonkar, same Vaheguru, we have the same responsibilities, each one of us. And no work is better or worse or all. He has conferred different kind of abilities on us, and we should utilize to the maximum to help ourselves, our families, our communities. But simply because we have different abilities doesn't make us better or worse. This is all a gift, and that gift is to share and help the life to be lived in a comfortable way.
So basically, all holidays are celebrated the same for six,
Oh,
in the
yes,
Gurdwaras. There will
right.
be a 3 day reading of the scripture. It takes 3 days to you start. Most Gurdwaras start on a Friday evening, and then they're done right before Gurdwara on Sunday, reading the scripture from one end to the other, and that's how big the scripture is. It's 3 days
Yes,
long, and
yes,
they'll do that, and then they'll have a regular Gurdwara service, but they'll
yeah,
focus on their sermons, and also sometimes their hymns. Like Guru Nanak wrote so many hymns. On Guru Nanak's birthday, you're going to be singing Guru Nanak hymns, obviously.
that's right. It's not Guru Nanak didn't write any hymns to describe himself. He only sang
No,
the glories of God. It is the
right.
observations of the other people about Guru Nanak which help us to recognize. Like for example, Bhai Gurdas. Bhai Gurdas is a very learned person who was the nephew of the third Guru Amar Das Ji, and he collected his Bora. We read them, and from there we try to understand the Guru Nanak's lifestyle, who Guru Nanak was. But Guru Nanak never wrote anything about himself. He said, I am nothing. I'm lowliest of the low, he said. The only thing is, thou art, thou art. We call tu hi, tu hi. You are the one, and I'm just your bird,
Slave.
so to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Bard or slave, even.
Yes, slave.
Uh,
Right.
I think one thing to finish up talking about Guru Nanak is that he understood infinity when he had his revelations. He really saw the galaxies and the whole cosmos, something that we really didn't get around to until Einstein's period. I mean, he was very ahead of his time. He was like the Hubble telescope,
Yes,
experience,
that's right. His
and so
hymns,
he
it's
really knew
amazing.
that
It's
we weren't
amazing, really, when he describes in his writings that in Japji Sa, for example, Patala, Patala, Khagas, Agas, he said there are unlimited number of countless superworlds, countless underworlds, and
just
countless solar systems, countless systems. There's no limit to them. Only
yeah,
the Creator knows. And
yeah.
he describes in much more greater detail in other pages of Guru Granth Sahib about his uh, understanding of the
Of
universe.
universe or infinity, that we have gotten used to how big it is and how little we are. But the his constant feeling of humility, of that we're just a little planet on the left arm of some very little galaxy somewhere, and that we don't need all this hubris,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
that
Yes,
ego, and that we're
another
not better
interesting.
than dolphins or ants or anything either.
Yeah.
You know,
Another interesting thing was that he really said, if you really want to worship God, worship as God is not just saying Vaheguru, Vaheguru only, or Gloria Patri or Allah, Allah is not enough. He said your actions, the way you live your life, that determines whether you uh, uh, really believe in God or not. Uh, to love your neighbor like thyself. Next one to you, no matter who that is, what religion, caste, or creed, or nationality person may be, you know, you show love because the same God, spark of God, is in you as well as in them.
it's
You
all
know,
a miracle. I mean,
yes.
it's all an amazing thing that we're even here on this planet together, and that joy that he brings to that revelation, that it's just so amazing to be here and
So,
to
so in
all be different.
yeah, so uh, in Punjabi, the word for the soul is Atma. He said Atma, your soul, and Par Atma, another person's soul. There's no difference. They're represented as the God. So when you start treating the other person like you treat yourself, then you are expressing your gratitude to God.
A good
That's how you. That's how you help. Instead of viewing them as your enemies or viewing as different, or you view them the same way as you view yourself. So
Mhm.
this is the key to coming closer to the Creator. And plus, he emphasized all around you the creation. Like Sikh philosophy is not really monotheism. Often that is said. Sikh philosophy is monoism, and to be even more precisely, is panentheism. You know, monoism means the God is in creation, and the creation is in God. The panentheism means God is not only in creation and beyond. That's panentheism. I've been watching some of the,
Pantheism. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, one is pantheism. Pantheism means everything, but this is panen, Panen, panentheism.
Oh,
That means,
I'll have to look that up.
yeah, the panentheism is beyond monism, uh,
Oh.
even.
Oh.
Uh, so it's very interesting the way Guru Nanak says. He says, "Jo Brahmande soi pinde jo khoja so pave." He said, whatever is in the microcosm is also in the macrocosm. So he says that it's like the rain of drop. That's how our souls are. And as the raindrop eventually ends in the ocean one way or another, same way from the ocean the raindrops come. When you look at the evaporation and all that processes, he said this is how the recycling takes place. And all that is processes under the Creator's command, what he calls hukum.
Mhm.
And when we start appreciating those things, then he said new insights start opening up in our minds. We become, small parts of us become part of the greater whole. And we develop that appreciation and ecstasy about it. And that ecstasy makes us say, wow, wow, like we say. And that wow becomes wow guru, why guru, what we call in Punjabi. Uh,
Yeah. Waheguru is a name of God that is invoked by Sikhs um, the most. And it basically means wondrous teacher or wow teacher.
yeah,
And
awesomeness, yes.
yeah.
Whatever you want to call it, this is
Uh,
sign of wonderment, wonderstruck.
yeah, God is the wondrous teacher. Um,
Yes.
and that now Sikhs have many names of God, and which we'll get to jobs up at
Yeah,
the end of
that's
the
right.
holidays here.
So,
But
so
I'm
there
going
is
to
a
move us.
yeah. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
no
One more thing you can say.
there's no one name for God. These are different qualities of gods. When we say Ram, Rahman, all those are when Ram means omnipresent, everywhere. Rahman means merciful. Narayan means the one who was again taking care of the world. Gopal, all those kind of names describe the qualities, different aspects of God.
Qualities
But
of God.
no one name describes everything about God.
Right, 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 right. Okay, so moving on in the holiday season, right when we get to what where we in the West are celebrating the pagan celebrations of the winter solstice with the tree and the presents and all that, and giving the December 25th. Interestingly enough, for six, there's a very sad holiday or poignant holiday that's being looked at the same time. Now, many Sikhs in the West have put up their Christmas trees and give presents. There's no policing saying you shouldn't do that. However, at the same time, when they're going to the Gurdwaras, they're learning the stories of the 10th Guru. Remember, there were 10 Gurus, and then he passed it on to the Guru Granth. The 10th Guru's martyred sons, four sons. The oldest two were martyred as they fought in a battle. They were teenagers, and the
Yes.
youngest two were caught by the Mughal
Hmm.
Empire, which were the bad guys in the extreme at that time. Similar to the Christian Inquisition, there was the Inquisitions of the Mughal Empire during that time, trying to force conversions and public torture and uh, stealing women for the harem, whatever. It was bad times, and
That's right.
those six
So
at that time in history were fighting the Mughal army, and the Guru Gobind Singh's children. The oldest two died in battle,
yes,
and the youngest two were captured.
yeah. The what happens is after Guru Nanak's birth, because in Sikhism, in the Sikhi, the all days are same. There is no special day like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. They're all same. And anytime you worship and commune with God, that's a holy day. And so those births and deaths are the part of the natural phenomena. They are not any special days really, but we celebrate them just as the rest of the community does accordingly.
Well,
Uh,
it's part of
and
the
they,
history.
yes. So, like for example, most people have satsang on Sundays here uh, because that's everyone else who goes to the church on Sundays. But if you are living in a Muslim country where they do on Fridays, then you can have your day on a Friday. And in
Right.
India, you can have every day. So,
Yeah.
but
Gurdwaras have
depends on
every
when the
day.
time is convenient. So there is not such a fixed idea of only this day and not the other day. Those kinds are not really according to the Guru's viewpoints, as far as I am concerned. My understanding from the composition of the Gurus, which is called Barama, in that.
Hmm.
So, having said that, after Guru Nanak's birth, comes actually uh, Guru Tegh Bahadur's martyrdom. Guru Tegh Bahadur is the ninth Guru, who is the father of Guru Gobind Singh. And at that time, there was a forcible conversion of Hindus by the Muslim regime. Muslim emperor was taking place. And so they petitioned to Guru Tegh Bahadur for help, what to do. And that's when Guru Tegh Bahadur took their cause and went to Delhi and argued on their behalf that state is not the one which bestows the right on people to worship. It is the God's granted, uh, given by God that people to be able to choose whatever they want. But of course, state was adamant and they didn't want to listen. They tortured his followers. One of them was sought alive and other burnt in fire and other boiled in in the hot water to scare the guru. But the guru continued to his conviction and he said, I rather accept death than leave my conviction. So he was beheaded in the central square of Delhi. And that's the martyrdom of Guru Tegh Bahadur for the freedom of religion. And that is that we celebrate now in United Nations in 1948, UN Declaration of Human Rights. And here the human rights struggle starting from Guru Nanak and materialized in the form of Guru Arjan and Guru Tegh Bahadur's martyrdom. And then subsequent creation of Khalsa by Guru Gobind Singh to defend the rights of the people
Right.
on a permanent basis. So after Guru Tegh Bahadur's martyrdom, that's how we view it. It was not just Hindus happened to be at that time. but it is for the whole humanity's right to freedom of religion. So there is their choice, not any state or any group of people should be able to impose upon them. So
And
it's a
that's a big theme for Sikhs, that everybody has the right to practice whatever religion they're drawn to practice, and that Sikhs will defend that right. Um, in fact, in World War II, the Sikhs were really, they weren't fighting against Hitler; they were fighting for the rights of Jews to practice their religion
Mhm.
as they wished. Sikhs have a getting into Guru Gobind Singh soon here, the final Guru. One of the things he brought about was the Khalsa, the
Yes,
and one of the main. It's kind of like a knighthood, a defense only, and women and men both belong to this or can belong. It's optional, and but one of the main things is that a Sikh of the Khalsa can never attack. You can only defend. So
yes,
it's very unlike any. It's almost similar in feeling to the Knights of the Round Table in the West, but with that other added thing of no attacking, only defending. So um, six that Guru Gobind, that's one of Gobind Singh's main messages in many ways, and
yes, yes. The Khalsa was, uh, you know, created by, inaugurated by Guru Gobind Singh, and that was institutionalization of the principle of equality, which was enunciated by Guru Nanak when Guru Nanak said, I panthi sagar jamati manjita jagjeet. If you conquer your mind, you can conquer the world. And that is the highest form of awakening. And he said to tread on this path, you have to play game of love, which he says, use the word prem, jin prem kiyo tin hi prapayo. Hmm? uh, I mean, no, sorry. Je to prem khelan ka chao sir tar tali gali muriao. You know, if you really want to play the game of love, come with your head on your palm of your hand. What he was saying is, no bribe, no false assurance will get this or that kind of, sort of thing by converting yourself. He said, this is not a game of conversion. It's a game of love and sacrifice for the rights of for righteousness. And that righteousness, one of the major principles is to defend the right of freedom for religion for other people. So
so,
Guru Gobind Singh, by introducing the ceremony of Amrit, he institutionalized that principle, so that people from high caste, low caste, any men, women, they all will drink from the same bowl and then wear the same 5Ks and practice the same way of life and collaborate and help with each other. And you know who were the one who opposed this Amrit ceremony? This was
who?
the Hindus. Hindu, under the Brahman influence of Brahmins, the priests of the Hindu religion, Pahadi Rajas, the hill chiefs over there, they said, we want to be Khalsa too, but we want a separate Amrit, not with the lower caste. Guru said, no, there is no such place for that. That is not the purpose of that. The purpose is to maintain and foster and defend equality for all. So he refused. He said, you can leave. And they are the ones who then attacked the Guru. The very first few battles which Guru had to fight for self-defense was because of the Hindu people, the Hindu Rajas,
Mhm.
because they did not want this principle of equality to be, because it was against the caste system, against their way of life, all their superstition which they had created over the years. Guru was trying to eliminate them, but he
I
defended.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think we need to make real clear that we're always talking about the leaders. We're always talking about the kings and the emperors of the Mughal Empire, that the misuse of power on the little people, that Muslims and Hindus and Sikhs and Jains and everybody else has lived as neighbors and in relative peace I mean, for centuries here. India has all these religions, and it's only when we get the leaders really involved that we have some problems. And so when we say that the Sikhs were up against the Hindus, they're up against the Hindu kings, the little
That's
petty
right.
king.
Not
And
not the ordinary Hindus. No, no. They were
yeah,
against the priestly, what they call in India, they call it Manuvad, the caste system philosophy they were against. And that caste system philosophy was imposed by the Brahmins through the Hindu hill chiefs, and Guru did not support that idea. He said, no, we are all equal. And that's why he introduced the ceremony of Amrit.
and with that ceremony, even though the 5 Ks in the one of the main ones is not cutting your hair, keeping your body the way that the creator created it, which also has a side effect of keeping you away from caring so much what you look like and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
you know, keeping
so that
natural, just the way
yeah,
God made
that's
you.
exactly that's a main principle of keeping long hair, and that is the main principle, living the life as naturally as possible. The
And
God gave them for a reason, and so we just keep them uh, as a command of God. Respect His gift, and then the same way, when our hair get tangled and all that, we know we're not supposed to cut them, and helps a lot of patience you develop in the process, maintaining long hair too. Same way, we have no circumcision in the Sikhs because we want to keep the way the God created us. But on the other hand, if you have a illness, like person's appendix is acting up and that has to be removed, yes, that can be removed. Your nails get your way because they become long and interrupt, you cut them. So your dead hair in you remove them with a comb. So it's to maintain cleanliness, which is next to godliness and good health, is very important part of life too. That's what our comb represents then. And the same way, we have to keep your mind clean through the positive involvement, positive readings, and Gurbani and good thoughts.
right. And I wanted to mention because of long hair, this brings about a sort of secondary thing of wearing Dostars wearing turbans, and that it had a little bit of a political punch because in India, turbans are crowns,
Mhm.
and low caste people wearing turbans it's like saying, "I'm a king." you know
Yes,
I'm the emperor, and it is a radical statement of equality, or that we're all the same, we're all regal, we're all of noble birth, we all come from
exactly,
the creator.
exactly.
And so this is Guru Gobind Singh too. I mean, all see turbans had been worn since Guru Nanak. They'd all, it's not that, but everything was institutionalized, I suppose you'd say, by Guru Gobind Singh, including he
Uh,
canonized the scripture and made it
Yes,
the next guru. So
yes, that's true.
Gobind Singh is really, if we hadn't had Guru Gobind Singh, Sikhi would have just ended up being one passed down to another guru to another, and it would never have been as egalitarian as it is with for Sikhs. Our
Absolutely,
our scripture is our only alpha, our only boss, and they can be all sorts of men and women who try to be boss and alpha, but in
yes,
Sikhi it's like, yeah, that's not true. It's
yeah,
it's always going to be the Guru Granth that the
that
is
is
the
the
owner
Guru.
boss. Yeah,
Yes,
the
that's right.
guru.
Exactly. Now, I also want to point out here the kada which we wear, the bracelet, you
Yes.
know, that has also a big significance. It's a link with the Guru. It's the link with the Sangat. And this link, it has no beginning or end. That's how Ikonkar is. There's no beginning or end. And it also is to remind us that Ikonkar is present with you wherever you are, everywhere. Guru and Vaheguru are with you no matter where you are, whether you are in the forest or whether you're at home or whether you're working or anywhere. So you don't need to go to special Gurdwara or Mandir or a church or anything. Wherever you are, God is omnipresent. So in other words, it's teaching us. And God
That's
is omniscient too, in the sense that He listens our prayers. No matter where we are, we can pray. We can be riding the train or walking, we can still pray that way. And God is also omnipotent. All the power comes from God. So when we are linked with the God, that's how that power comes in us, and our faith can move mountains.
Yeah, there's no ministers. There are scriptural scholars, but there are no ministers in the Sikh religion. Any five initiated Sikhs can do a marriage, do anything, any ritual that needs to be done. I didn't any protocol that needs to be done, and start a gurdwara or right there in your living room or in your a room that you've installed the Guru Granth in. So
Yes,
this is another great thing that even though it appears when you go into a gurdwara that there are ministers or priestly type people. They're actually scriptural scholars, and they are the caretakers of the Gurdwara, and
exactly.
they're not better than you are. They may be
That's
more
right.
educated, or they may not be more educated. And so they don't have a intermediary. There's no intermediaries between you and the divine in
That's
Sikhism.
correct. So anything they can do, any person in the congregation can do, as long as they know about it, what it is. The
Right, exactly.
second thing is that these people are mainly, like you said, coordinators, caretakers, and scholars, but they don't have any special powers to do anything. They are at the same level as any other member of the Sangat, and
And
they
they're not.
eat at the same level. And so, uh,
That's true. And they're not
and this,
celibate.
yes, so same kind of things are expected out of them, their duties as from an ordinary person. So it's a brotherhood of the people, which is important. That's what Satsangat is all about, and it's not any person with a special status there.
So want to keep this fairly short. So I'd like to bring this to an end of this is the look at happy holidays. So you can definitely say happy holidays when you see a Sikh, because we got several of them at this time of year that are celebrated. But the most joyful ones are the birth of Guru Nanak, the source of the Sikh religion, and Guru Gobind Singh, who was the guru who uh, gave up the guruship for the
Yes,
Sikh scripture, and
that's right.
kind of canonized the whole religion. I don't know
Mhm.
if you can canonize a religion, but he institutionalized the whole religion, made it the way it is, in
Yes,
approximately 1699. So
yes. So I just want to add another two articles of faith which we have is the underwear to remind you the modesty and chastity and faithfulness, and your sword is to remind you your duty for social justice, no matter where you are. As you protect the rights of others, yours are automatically protected. And as a last resort, sometimes you may have to bear arms to
but only
defend
never
extermination.
never
Yes,
to attack.
never to attack. That's right. That's correct. So
I
that's
always Oh, sorry, keep on.
So that's what those five, articles of faith stand for, as a reminder for the a good way of life for us.
So, Sikhs, initiated Sikhs, and actually Sikhs who are just practicing to get initiated, you might say, wear these 5Ks on their bodies at all times, and but they are wear the costume of their communities, like that great Hawaiian shirt that you have on. Anyway, and
Mhm.
some Sikhs you'll see who are wearing Punjabi clothes, and that's totally fine too. It's a free universe what you wear. And all you need to do is to keep your 5Ks if
That's
you're
right.
an initiated Khalsa Sikh.
Yes.
So basically, there's no priesthood or ministers in the Sikh religion. If you are drawn to that, you become Khalsa, and
Yes.
you become a a baptized. They often say baptized, but they don't do it as babies. It's
Yeah. No. Right. That's
initiated
right.
six. It's a decision that you make. You can make it when you're in your 80s, or you can make it when you're. Um,
Right.
Sometimes kids make it, but generally, I would say it's not encouraged because it's such a serious vow that you would make this
Mhm.
when you come
Yeah.
into your full
Yeah.
adult.
Yeah, Khalsa vows are similar, that this is a kind of dedication and proclamation that I will live my life by those values which we talked about. Uh, and it's an optional thing too, not mandatory, it's not imposed upon people. But there are many people at different stages of their life, they choose to become Khalsa or may not. It's their choice.
And it doesn't matter in terms of uh, you're being a good person. Being a good person is doing good things and being loving and caring. And if you're a good person in Christian, or a good person in Muslim, or a good person and not Khalsa,
Yeah,
if it's all the same. So the
yeah,
Khalsa is not better. They just sort of have tougher vows, and if they break them on death day, it's going to be, they're going to be asked about that.
yeah.
Six,
So
right?
it's a voluntary process, in other words, it's not a mandatory process to remember. It's
And Guru,
important to remember.
so in Guru Gobind Singh's birthday, we Sikhs would be kind of celebrating his life and his his incredible life. All the gurus had amazing lives, and you learn the story again. You learn the story all around the calendar of Sikh holidays of Sikh history, and so that's why I say it's a big liturgical calendar, and
Mhm.
that's a lot of how Sikh education, how the children are educated, how we educate ourselves is just
Yeah.
remembering our history and telling the stories
Mhm.
around the calendar. But at
Yes.
the winter solstice time, these are the holidays that Sikhs are celebrating.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Kirpal. Do you want to say one last thing?
Thank you for this chance for me to speak. And these are strictly my views, the way I view and practice them and all. People can differ, which is okay, and it doesn't offend me. And I hope they don't feel offended what I have said. But this is what Sikhi is all about, to be able to honestly express what you feel and think and are implementing your life as your understanding of the Guru's message. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.